I call this meeting of Central Florida Facilitators Toastmasters Club 9958 to order. Thank you all for being here tonight. Please turn off all your cell phones as I just did mine so it won't go off on me.
Again?
Yeah, again. At Toastmasters, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communications and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Through this mission, each Toastmaster gains a clear understanding of the club's purpose, and the organization as a whole benefits from a shared set of values and goals. Please help me welcome our thought and pledge leader for this evening, which would be Alan.
All right. Since it is football night, I thought of nothing more appropriate than a few words from the great Vince Lombardi himself for our thoughts tonight. A couple words of Vince Lombardi about teamwork. The achievements of an organization are the results of the combined efforts of each individual. People who work together will win, whether it be against a complex football defense or the problems of our modern society. Individual commitment to a group effort, that is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, and a civilization work. Leaders are made. They are not just born. They are made by the hard effort, which is a price which all of us must pay to achieve any goal that is worthwhile. Leadership is not just one quality, but rather a blend of many qualities. While no one individual possesses all of the needed talents that go into leadership, each man can develop a combination to make him a leader. And now, how about our pledge? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And just a few words before we bring our President John Dunn up to the lectern tonight. I would like to talk a little bit about our 2014-2015 membership incentives. So now this just gives us an opportunity to win some awards. Now through August through September 30th, there is the Smedley Award. The challenge is to add 5 new, dual, or reinstated members. And the reward for that would be the Smedley Award ribbon, 10% off Toastmaster International orders, and a $25 Toastmaster International gift certificate. There is a push for having 30 plus members, and along with that, the 30-something award. Clubs with 30 members at the end of the year, December 30th, get a ribbon and a $25 Toastmaster International gift certificate. Clubs with 30 plus members at middle of the year, June 30th, get a ribbon and a $25 Toastmaster International gift certificate. And clubs which maintain 30 plus members at both dates get the Valor Award trophy. And with renewals, which are going on as we speak, there's a challenge for the first 9 members to pay their dues in the first 7 days. The reward is the Notable 9 ribbon for their banner. And also there's the Incredible 20, which the challenge is to pay dues for 20 members in the first 10 days. And the reward for that would be the incredible 20 ribbon or banner. And here is John Dunn, our president.
Thank you, Alan, for an awesome job on the thought and pledge and for telling us about our dues. You do a great job filling out the Renju White jersey. He was a great man. Ladies and gentlemen, we are called the facilitators for 3 reasons. We are sponsored by the Central Florida chapter of the American Society of Training and Development, the premier organization for professional facilitators, open to all. A good facilitator needs to be a strong communicator and an effective leader, and Toastmasters is all about communication and leadership. To facilitate means to make things easy and possible, and we want to make things easy and possible for you tonight. First, some orders of business. If you are on a roll that will allow you to get this book filled out, get this to somebody as soon as possible, like Stephen Morgan, whose general evaluator got his to me tonight. It benefits you, it benefits the club, and it's a true win-win situation. The next order of business, Tony Gittles, the beloved grandmother of this club, had her hip replacement surgery this morning, and I'm happy to report that it went incredibly well. She's in great spirits, and she's thankful for lots of pain medication. A few weeks ago, we did a silent prayer for a gentleman that is in the room that was going through some very tough medical things. So, proof that prayer works, John Roberts is back with us tonight. And in true Toastmaster facilitator form, he brought a guest with him.
Right.
So we would like to hear from the guest very briefly on why he's here tonight, who he is, just a little bit about him. And that's somebody I've come to know, and that's Leonard.
My name, everybody calls me Len, but a lot of people call me Leonard. And I was born in Duluth, Minnesota. I came here about 50 years ago, and I went in business here at the Park Plaza downtown Lake Eola. That was our building. And I was general manager, and I was in the construction business, and I turned it from a hotel into 170 luxury units. And I retired about 10 or 15 years ago. I got hurt in an accident, and that put my retirement, So I had to retire. It wasn't that I was willing to retire, but I had to retire. And since then, I've known John very, very well. And we're both military. He's a colonel in the military. I was a captain. And so we just get along just perfect, And so he's went through some ups and downs, really, really serious ups and downs. And he's pulled through it. And it's also helped me to be a better man, And I've learned some things from him, and that you never complain. I watched him fall down, bloody at the head, and have to take him to the hospital, have stitches put in. He never complains, and that's one thing I've learned from John, never to complain.
Thank you, Leonard. Man, that sounds like an icebreaker speech. Get this guy signed up now. And we do have a former guest that's back with us tonight that is going to be joining our ranks, and that is Steve Block. So Steve, just for the ones that continue.
Hello everyone, I'm going to be the newest member here.
Yes.
Not sure what to say exactly for now, but my name's Steve, I'm an engineer, and I enjoy being here, so thank you all for having me.
Thank you. And the next part of our contest, you want to come and support the ones that moved on. Mark and myself, I'm not sure how Steve did in his other club yet. Anybody else that might have competed in another club. I'll get the specific details, but I know it's Sunday, September 14th. And Stephen, if you know the remainder of that, I wouldn't hesitate for you to jump in. But I'll get it before next week. I am really excited for tonight's meeting. It's Wednesday night. CFF is here to strike. Our forces are in full flight. I thought about trying to sing this like Hank Williams Jr. does. I should have recruited Morgan for that. He's a good singer. I'm not, as we already know. But to continue, get ready for some speaking tonight. Really ready. Because all of you, my rowdy friends, especially as you get that wine in you, are here to speak tonight. Let's ignite tonight with our quarterback, me, the Toastmaster, Jonathan Dunn. By now, you know that none of these meetings would be possible without an incredible crew of behind-the-scenes people. Tonight, who we will refer to as the referees. Our referee as the counter tonight. James Riggs, why don't you stand up and share with us what you'll be doing?
I will be making sure everybody stays within the sidelines. You don't have any destructive audible clutches such as you know, or double clutches, which is the repetition of a word while the speaker searches for the next thought. I will also notice sentences strung together with bridge words such as and, so, or like. And I will sound the buzzer when I hear any of these infractions. Of course, that's not to cause any embarrassment. And people who have not given their icebreaker or are not members will not be fined. All others will be assessed 10 cents. Thank you.
Next, we have our grammar referee, Miss Linda Earls.
As grammarian, I have chosen the word of the day, which is fumble. I will keep track of those who use the word of the day, and you don't have to use it in the sports sense. And the paper on your table, it's a verb, and it means to feel or grope about clumsily, or to fumble the ball by failure to hold or maintain the ball after touching or carrying it. And synonyms are bungle, botch, mishandle, spoil, and muff. Used in a sentence, he fumbled with her zipper with his large, meaty hands, unable to grasp the tiny closure of her gown. I'm sorry, that was PG, everyone. You're all adults here. Those who have a chance to speak and do not use the word of the day will be fined 25 cents. Guests and members who have not yet given their icebreaker speech will not be fined. Thank you so much.
For our speakers, what a vivid use of imagery, one that has me distracted now. Keeping track of the game clock tonight will be the timer, Charles Victor Bombalier.
One of the skills Toastmasters practice is expressing a thought within a specific time. As timer, I am responsible for monitoring time for each speaker in each meeting segment. I will operate the timing signal indicating to each speaker how long he or she has been speaking without fumbling the timing. For prepared speeches, to qualify for voting, speakers must speak not less than 30 seconds under the range minimums and not more than 30 seconds over the range maximum. I will turn on the green light at range minimum, the yellow light at mid-range, and the red light at the range maximum. For table topics, to qualify, a speaker must speak at least 1 minute and no more than 2 minutes 30 seconds. Green light will come on at 1 minute, yellow light 1.5 minutes, and the red light at 2 minutes. For evaluations to qualify, evaluators must speak a minimum of 1 minute 30 seconds and a maximum of 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Again, green light at 2 minutes, yellow light at 2.5 minutes, red light at 3 minutes. Mr. Toastmaster.
It's quarterback. Our head referee this evening, a lady who needs no introduction, Micki Dumitrescu.
Now, I have to tell you, the advantage of being Vice President of Education is that I can assign myself whatever the heck role I want. So I'm a vote counter today, I don't have to do much, and I'm going to be a vote counter next week. Thank you very much. As vote counter, I will pick up your ballots for best speaker, best table topic speaker, best evaluator, and most improved speaker. I will tell you the results for award presentations at the end of the meeting. I will also pick up any comments you might have written for the speakers or any meeting participant and deliver the comments to the appropriate person. And as a last thought, please pay attention to how much wine I'm going to drink tonight because I may fumble your ballots.
Oh, that was beautiful. Let's see who can have the most ridiculous usage of the word fumble tonight. We're running tight on time, so I'll keep this a little bit quick. Gator fans, Hurricane fans, notice on the agenda, the 2014 National Champion Florida State. We're looking forward to repeating again next year as well. As far as Green Bay goes, I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan too, so you beat it too, Lamfair. I am really excited about our first speaker. This guy has literally exploded onto the scene like a bottle rocket. He is, as of tonight, still our newest member. This gentleman has always applied management techniques he learned in business school throughout his daily life. Today, he is going to talk about his favorite technique, Kaizen, as a part of the second project of the Competent Communicator Manual. Let's welcome Renju J to the lectern.
It takes thousands of steps to climb to the top of the mountain. But it all starts with one firm step. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, and guests, today I'm going to talk about achieving wonderful results through a great technique, Kaizen. This concept was first developed in Japan by the US teams who went there to reconstruct the economy after the World War II. A notable champion of this approach was Dr. Edwards Denning. Literally, this word Kai means change, and Zen means good, which means good change. When people want to change, they usually turn to a strategy of innovation. According to the business school concept or business school definitions, innovation is a drastic process of change. Ideally, it occurs in a very short period of time, yielding a dramatic turnaround. Recently, Microsoft fired about 18,000 employees. That's a dramatic change which they want to bring to their company. There's nothing wrong with that strategy, but it doesn't work with everyone, particularly in our daily lives. So the alternative to this strategy is Kaizen. This philosophy is all about taking small steps for improvement. So there are three important ideas associated with this concept of Kaizen. This will help you to achieve great results or achieve goals in your life. The first step is to ask small questions. You can dream big, then break it into small questions, but avoid the questions how. Ask yourself questions like, what is the first thing I can do? Or can I spend a few minutes daily doing this? Asking small questions help you to find the first necessary step to take. that first small step brings you closer to the goals. At this point, you may not know how you will get there or how it will happen. But with taking that small step, you are actually walking. If you answer those questions, you can find the next step and the next step and the next. That is in direction of your overall goal. So after asking questions and you reach the goal, what you need to do is to break down your big goal to specific goals. And make sure that you take only doable steps to achieve those goals. You don't need to have a complete master plan or to have details to figure out. Start with the big picture. For instance, if your goal is to read more books for personal development, which is a generic goal, a specific step can be to start with 20 minutes daily, and after reading it for an year, every 6 days, by the end of the year, you would have read about 15 non-fiction books of 200 pages. Isn't it great? So that's about breaking your big goal into specific small goals. Then the third point which I want to talk about regarding Kaizen is to be consistent. We all have been there. You start enthusiastically, you're really motivated, but somewhere on the path, for whatever reason, you enter the ditch. You forget your goal. You feel guilty. If you press pause and messed up the process, just press play and start over. Be kind to yourself. We are humans, we are not machines. But keep in mind, like Disney World, if you don't stay in line, you never get to enjoy the ride. So get in line and stay in line. So be consistent. By using the Kaizen method, you can accomplish any goal, any task or improvement you want to make. So remember these small 3 steps. Ask small questions, break down your goal, be consistent. The key is to use small steps to reach your final goal. The spirit of Kaizen is simple. Little drops of water make the mighty ocean. Mr. Toastmaster.
Well done, rookie. Well done. Mr. Timer, may we have a minute on the clock so that our team can take this slip and write down strategic comments for the rookie, Renju J.
What are the metrics for this week? What are the metrics?
It's organize your speech, so organization would be involved. Other than that, you'd have to look at the book.
It should be on the agenda.
Okay. Our next speaker could be considered the Brett Favre of this club. She literally is coming out of retirement this evening. She's coming back. She wants to go for the Super Bowl. In 2011, she did earn her distinguished Toastmaster Award. A few months later, life's waves tossed and turned her, and she took a hiatus from Toastmasters. Since then, she has given one speech Today, she feels like a brand new Toastmaster, giving her second speech all over again. Starting over by working on speech numero 5, Your Body Speaks, in the Competent Communicator Manual. Our speaker this evening will be telling you all about her summer road trip. Please help me welcome our distinguished Toastmaster, Susan Morgan.
Good evening, everyone. Our bags were packed, the snacks were packed, the electronics were installed, and they were tested and retested. Everything was ready. We just had to wait 12 hours to go. Nah, let's not wait the 12 hours. Let's hop in the car and get going to our summer road trip. That's what we did. We started at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and drove as long as we could drive, heading towards Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. We got there in plenty of time. It was a lot of fun. The kids' electronics worked fine. It was me at the helm, Stephen in the passenger seat, and all 5 kids in the back of the van. Yes, I said 5. One of the first things that we did on our trip to Washington, D.C. was get on the metro to get down to Washington, D.C., because we weren't staying right down in the town. So we went on the metro, and it was my kids' first time ever on a subway. And they were just amazed. It was high in there, it was echoey, and then we saw the escalator going up, 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 very long, going up. And we came out into the city. The first look at this city that really none of us had ever seen except for Stephen. We looked around and saw all kinds of cool buildings and everything, but our adventure was going to start at the Capitol. So we went and walked. This was a walking trip. We walked a lot. And we went to the Capitol. And the first view of the Capitol was amazing. This is this building you see on the news or on your textbook cover. It was just beautiful, and we were going to get to go in, have a tour, and even go to the House of Representatives. We were really excited. We got in there, we got our tour, it was beautiful. We went to the House of Representatives, we sat up in the gallery. You had to be very, very quiet. There was a man down there giving a speech. We didn't quite understand all of what he was saying, but we thought it sounded good. Then somebody else stood up and rebutted what the other guy said, so we were kind of like, I wonder what this is all about. And all of a sudden, my son says, "Mom, how come it's so empty in here?" There was just like a few people in there, and you think the House of Representatives, it's going to be busy. There's all those people that you see on TV that are in there. Well, they weren't there. But lo and behold, they called for a vote, which we didn't expect at all to happen. The vote came, and all the people started filing in. People we saw on TV, people like Nancy Pelosi, John Boehner. I mean, all these guys on there were like, oh my gosh, isn't that so-and-so? Didn't we see him on the Daily Show? And it was so interesting that we were very excited to have been there. The vote finished, it didn't win. We don't know exactly what happened with the vote or what it was about, but we got to see how things work in the government. From there, we left and went to the Library of Congress, and it was so much fun. It had a lot of things like our national anthem, Star Spangled Banner, in the sheet music right there. It was so beautiful. Then we went to the Air and Space Museum and the Natural History Museum, both of which were a lot of fun. We got to see the Hope Diamond. I was happy about that. I'm like, son, when are you going to buy mommy that? The next day we went to Manassas National Battlefield and Arlington National Cemetery and the Arlington House, all of which was really fun. My stepson's grandfather on his mother's side had passed away and was buried there. And he got to go see the grave, and that was very special for us that he could do that. The third day we went to an amusement park, of all things. Why would we go to amusement park? Well, our family, Stephen's sister and her kids, decided they'd come there and we could come there, we could meet with each other and have a family day. So we went there, and boy did the kids have fun. They went on every single ride there is, up and down and up and down and around and backwards and upside down. And it was fun to watch them have fun like that. On our fourth day, we went to the National Zoo. We got to see the pandas, the sloths, the orangutans, the lions and tigers, and I did say panda bears already. We went to a whole bunch of other places. We went to the Jefferson Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Memorial. We passed by the White House. We actually saw a presidential motorcade go by, which was like, hey, we actually got to see the president, kind of, sort of. On our sixth day, we went to the American History Museum, where we saw everything from a 65 Mustang to Archie Bunker's chair to Fonzie's jacket, Julia Child's set. That was a lot of fun. After that, we drove to family and drove home. It was a wonderful trip, and I enjoyed it so much. I think the best was just being a part of our family. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Mr. Bombalier, here we have a minute on the clock for the team to write down the comments for Miss Morgan. Mr. Timer, may we have a timer's report?
John, the scheduled required time was 5 to 7 minutes, 6 minutes, 22 seconds. He qualifies. And Susan Morgan, 5 to 7 minutes, 7 minutes, and 23 seconds. He qualifies.
Ladies and gentlemen, that means that both have qualified, and we need to place a vote for the best speaker. And our supervisor of elections, Micki will come around and collect those votes. It's good. I'm doing a good job. That concludes the first half of tonight's meeting. So this is a little halftime here. Yes, Marcus.
Just a quick question from my understanding. Who was our general evaluator tonight?
Stephen Morgan.
Okay.
Who here wants to be a great Toastmaster? Roberts, why isn't your hand up? Good job. These meetings, the same thing football teams do. They get great when they're on the practice field and on Sunday or Saturday they play the game. They use Kaizen. I love that speech, by the way. So every time you come to this meeting, take advantage of it and practice, practice, practice. And it makes me think of Steve Jobs. He's a big fan of the book Outliers. 10,000 hours to mastery. So if the only time you come and practice your Toastmastering is when you're here at the meeting, it's probably going to be the end of the world before you hit that 10,000 hours. So practice, practice, practice. Even though we're just now beginning the second half, in football it commonly comes down to the final 2 minutes of a game. They call it the 2-minute warning, where teams, they get into their hurry-up offense. And they bring out their best, most aggressive stuff in that last 2 minutes. Because they want to win the game. They want to go to the Super Bowl. They want to go to the national title like the Florida State Seminoles did. So this part of the meeting is something like that. Our table topics master this evening, when I said the theme was going to be football, he was thinking soccer. The World Cup is over. This is American football we're talking about here. This table topics master, he's not sports oriented, especially football. Granted, growing up, he loved basketball and soccer. He did not have the talent or the height for basketball. And there was too much competition in soccer. He was always in Team B. But he loves table topics. Guy's kind of weird. He says it's the favorite part of the meeting. Wow. He is sure that today we will learn more about football and sports. Please help me welcome our table topics master for the evening, Mr. Jorge Elias.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Like in the introduction, I'm not much of a football fan. I hope I don't fumble all the questions. Table topics is my favorite part. I hope I become a part A or team A on table topics. Table topics is the portion of the meeting where everybody gets a chance to speak. It's a practice for impromptu speaking. I will be asking a small, short question, hopefully simple. And the lucky Toastmaster I pick needs to speak at least 1 minute and no more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds in order to qualify. I know we have a couple guests here tonight, and I'm sure, are you guys willing to take a question? Steve? Not now, but...
I'm going to take a question.
Yes.
How about you, Mr. Lynn?
No, I'm not.
I'll ask you an easy one.
Yeah, I'm afraid that.
All right, good. First question. Did you play football or any other sports in high school? Were you hoping for a university scholarship and your dreams came true? Alan.
All right. I will gladly field this question. Yes, I was involved in sports all 4 years of high school. I was in wrestling and football. And although I had no intention of playing sports in college, I did play some rugby, which was a lot of fun, and it was rough. Kind of a combination of what would be considered American football and what Mr. Elias would consider football in Bolivia. And I look back on the time that I played sports, and I think it was a really great time. I consider it one of the best times in my life. It was a time before you had to worry about work or doing this or doing that, and you could simply just be in the moment and enjoy competing, being amongst your friends and your peers, being a part of a team representing your school, and just being a better part of yourself. And part of that, as you guys have learned through my other speeches about exercise and physical fitness, that kind of has made me who I am today. And when I look back at that, I think it was a really great part of life, and I encourage anybody to encourage their children to play sports, and hopefully they will go out for Pee Wee football and not fumble the ball too much.
Yeah. I will do this like a soccer. I'll be going advancing to the goal. Do you think the World Cup 2014 was a turning point for soccer popularity in the United States, and why, Mr. James?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I'll recall a conversation I was having with Mark on the way up here. I said I must have missed the gene with sports because I couldn't care less. I have no idea who won the World Cup soccer, and I honestly have no interest in it. So I'm going to move to another topic because I can't speak at all to that one. Growing up, I enjoyed water sports a great deal. I would surf, I would windsurf, and then wakeboard. And I still find myself in my 40s doing the same sports, enjoying the water, the sun, surfing and waves. Don't do as well with wakeboarding anymore because my knees don't seem to handle the jumps, and it was never terrific at flips, so I was slowing down in that area. But I see the green light. That makes me feel good about saying thank you.
Yeah, I'm not the only one. Your husband is not a fanatic of your husband to be is a fanatic of the Gators. And his house is full decorated with all Gator stuff. Your new house, your home to be. Do you think you need to do a prenup before the marriage, Micki?
Yes!
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, I'm not going to marry him, that's for sure. I don't like sports, and I don't like the TV to be on a sports channel all day long. I'm sorry, I cannot take it. So I either live with my husband in the same house and we don't talk about sports, or he can go in his merry way and I go on mine, and we're both happy apart if we cannot together. The only sport that I like, and I said it a couple of years ago, is to sit on the couch and watch TV. This is my favorite sport. I do go to the gym though, because I need to lose some weight. Not to Jonathan's gym, unfortunately, but I'll get there. Yeah. but it's like with a lot of sacrifice and a lot of pushing myself to go there and a lot of reading while working on the elliptical just to not know what I'm doing, my thought to be somewhere else. So if I cannot take the sports for myself, I'm sure that I cannot take the sports for my partner to bring it in my life 100%. Thank you.
Thank you. How much do you love football? Are you a participant or an spectator? Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm another person to fumble today's theme. I have a twin here who's into water sports. I also wakeboard, I also windsurf, I also kiteboard, I scuba dive, I swim as the open water portion of triathlons. So I'm in no way into sports. I don't know how many people here are into sports, but there are things that I do. I was never a team player, but I'm into physical activity. I spend plenty of time at the gym. I take hardcore conditioning classes 2 or 3 times a week. And I participate in my races, particularly long distance races, 5Ks, and triathlons. I train pretty aggressively. My diet is also pretty aggressive. I don't eat any junk food. And I try to focus on nutrition, which is best for my body. Because team sports are good for building morale and building teamwork, but sometimes you also have to be able to function as an individual. Triathlons can also be as tough as football. As anybody who's done it knows, in the swim section, you're not only swimming for time, you're also fighting against a crowd of people in order not to drown. And you're not only tackling people in order to get the ball forward, you're tackling people to get you forward and not to go under. You can also waste a lot of energy at the beginning fighting against people instead of focusing on the race. So the number one piece of advice that I have to anybody not to fumble your time is to be calm at the swim, because everybody finishes the swim approximately the same time, and then it's off to the bike and run, which are the real segments of a triathlon. So for that, I would like to close my speech by thanking all of you for listening.
Are you happy with your favorite football team's mascot? And if you had the power to change, would you do it or keep it the way it is? And why? Mr. Jonathan Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. First, we will address the mascot of my favorite NFL team, the Miami Dolphins. I am so thrilled with their mascot. I mean, who in the world doesn't love dolphins outside of the folks that maybe filmed the Blackfish movie? I mean, one of my many girlfriends that broke up with me recently. We were on a cruise to a dolphin sighting, and I didn't want to get up to see the dolphin jumping out. And she wanted to ditch me because she says, "What kind of a man doesn't like dolphins?" And I tried to tell her I've been seeing dolphins my whole life, so great question. As far as college, the Seminoles. I love the mascot, which leads me to this whole thing with the Washington Redskins. I consider myself a pretty sensitive guy. And I am not here to judge anybody, but I don't see what the big deal is about an NFL team being called the Redskins. I would think it would be an honor to be called the Redskins and have an NFL team named after you. So, if anybody feels the opposite of that, I would love to just get their viewpoint on it, because I think it's a neat story. And everybody these days is just way too sensitive on a side note. Pro team, love the mascot. College team, how do you not love the Seminole? And I do love dolphins. And who cares if you're a Redskin? Thank you, Mr. David.
I'll tell you a little story about my mascot. I was at the library a couple weeks ago where there were 2 counters outstanding, and the guy, you know, he tells, "Oh, I like Angry Birds too." My way out, I see my reflection on the door. You have an exchange student in your house that knows nothing about American culture. You have to please explain to him or her what a pep rally is and why he or she should go. Miss Linda Earls.
A foreign exchange student would have a big, big problem in my household because my father didn't like sports and my brother didn't like sports. And actually, I was the most likely to be a sports person because I was large. I grew almost my full height, and I was the center on the soccer team in like 5th or 4th, whatever grade that was. And I would play anything because I was always better than everyone else because I was larger. And I, basketball and everything, I could just do it better because I was bigger at an early age. But of course, everybody went flying by me once they got up in size. But when I was center on the soccer team, we played, this was a country school, and we played a city school. And the person on the other side, when they dropped the ball, punched me right in the face and then dropped me. And I got up thinking, of course, went off of the ball, and I got up thinking, nobody saw that? That is going to be okay? And that's when I started to rethink, going, ooh, I will be in there on the sports teams. So my story in sports is I had the aptitude, but the violence scared me away. Thank you so much.
Why do you think football, American football, is not as popular as football, soccer, around the world? Renju.
Good question. Yes. Thank you, Jorge. Soccer is my game. And you know what? I ended up in a studio where I work for developing football games. So Madden, one of the greatest games of American football, video games of American football, is developed at the studio which is where I work. And I had no clue about how football works. Because I was grown up in a place where cricket and soccer are popular, which is, I don't call soccer, we call football there, because that's the foot. You use the foot to play soccer. But I really tried to learn this American football. I've got the copies of Madden every year. I'll get it. I will go and try to play that on my PS4. I still don't know. I need someone's help, really, to understand how that game is played. Maybe I will check with Jonathan sometime later, how that game is played. It's completely different from a football game, which is a soccer game, where you don't use your hand at all. If you use your hand in soccer, you're fouled. You cannot move forward. But in football, I think you use your hand, and you grab the ball, you run around, and you know what's happening. So that's my history about football and soccer.
Thank you. One more question, Mr. Roberts. You want to take it?
Sure.
Okay. You are with your friends at a bar, watching a game, drinking a few glasses of wine, beers. Your team is playing, and it's started to win. And you place a bet with your friend, and the bet is to shave your head if your team loses. Unfortunately, your team loses. What do you do? What do you say to your friend in order to get out of the bet? Or would you do it?
I would say, kind sir, the rules being what they are, I have lost the bet. Is there any other way I can dissuade you for the redemption that you seek, and basically negotiate with him to see if there's any other way. If there's not, I'll say, give me a few days so I can get my act together, and then I'll never see him again. But that may be the chicken way to do it, get out of it. As a general rule, I don't bet. And as a general rule, I don't drink. So you would never see me in a bar with that. Unless it was with Leonard, and we'd be drinking Coca-Colas. That's one thing I like about him. We have the same values. We don't smoke, we don't drink, we don't do drugs. Clean American men. And we've made it into our 70s. So there's a lot of people who'd like to be in my position, but they aren't going to get it. So that's where I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this concludes the table topics. Mr. Timer, can you give us a time report, please?
Alan, rushing in for 1 minute and 50 seconds. He qualifies. James, he did 1 minute and 6 seconds. He qualifies. Micki, running a top speed for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Qualifies. Steve, 2 minutes and 12 seconds. He made it. Jonathan, rushed for 1 minute and 34 seconds. Linda, 1 minute and 18 seconds. Qualifies. Renju, 1 minute and 32 seconds. He qualifies. And Mr. John Robin beats everyone with 1 minute and 14 seconds to qualify.
Thank you. I relinquish the lecture to Mr. Jonathan Dunn. Thank you.
Thank you. Jorge, awesome questions, brother. Please cast your vote for the best table topics speaker. Roberts, great job after a long layoff.
Thanks.
Sounded really good, bud. So please cast your vote. In sports as a whole, the question is commonly given, if it was in the fourth quarter, the final half, what player would you want to have the ball in the hands of? And I can tell you, as we enter into the fourth quarter of tonight's meeting, let me get my vote here. I wouldn't want the ball in any other Toastmaster's hand. This guy in my entire, I've almost been here 2 years now, I've never seen him fumble the ball. I mean, he jumped in tonight to take this role after one of our people had to go on the IR. If there was a Toastmaster Hall of Fame, this guy would be in it. He's that good. And he's been the recipient of many evaluations during his 25 years in Toastmasters. And yes, I did butcher that on purpose. He has seen everything. Mark Lockery from the Whitewash Evaluation, providing no suggestions to the Chainsaw Evaluation. Julian Cotto's not here tonight, providing no positive feedback. It is his opinion that an effective evaluation absolutely must have both positive feedback and suggestions for improvement. Here to provide the evaluation of our first speaker and the meeting as a whole, please welcome Advanced Toastmaster Gold, Stephen Morgan.
Thank you, Jonathan. First, I'm taking on the role of General Evaluator since we had an opening and I get to double up apparently today. My first job as General Evaluator is to introduce the evaluators, which means introducing myself. John's already given us that setup. As I'm first evaluator, I will be evaluating Renju's speech on Kaizen. good change, as you described it to us, and what you provided with to us as a way to affect the change that we intend to make, hopefully for the good of each of us. And I very much enjoyed being able to get those little tidbits you were providing to us there, Renju. It was nice how you opened it up with the philosophical approach and also closed it with a nice little introspective ending as well. It gave us that time to start thinking within ourselves and see how we can start reframing those things that we have as our challenges. You described it initially as the journey of 1,000 steps. It takes 1,000 steps to get up the mountain. It all begins with one firm step. Sounded like for most of us the variation of a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That was a great way to open it. One good change I might suggest is to change one of the words step to something slightly different. But by changing the word, it also changes the way we think about it, which is that reframing that you're trying for us to get. What was really neat in that the 3 things that you gave us to work with, the ask small questions, break things down, and to be consistent. You began with the small questions, which is where the philosophical part comes in. You broke it down into those very 3 things that you gave us that I just repeated, and you were consistent throughout your speech. You used the rule of 3 very effectively. One suggestion I can give is that when you started off is that you were going to say you're going to have 3 things. Hold out the 3 a little bit longer, or hold out the 1 and the 2 and the 3 a little bit longer. It seemed to just be a slight variation on how you tended to move your arms like this back and forth through most of it. So at some point you might just see how long can you hold it out before it gets uncomfortable. You had a great set of information. You did not need to use the notes, I bet, because it seems you had a good grasp on what you were talking about. So I could say, toss them out, step out is what you're going to hear a lot more. And obviously, second speech, don't worry about it. As you get more comfortable, step out forward. Don't worry if you fumble. If you don't tell us, we won't know. So if you happen to forget something, just keep going. The best part of all of this was your structure, and this was the Organize Your Speech project. In that sense, you had the structure solid. You had a solid opening. You had your 3 points in the beginning. You had the solid closing. You did it. It is perfectly, picture perfect. And I loved how, when you got to the conclusion and you're telling us about those little drops of water. Sometimes around here, those little drops of water are the tears. Some for the people who are stressed, some from who are laughing too hard. But in the end, Toastmasters itself is also the ocean we're all being carried along with. And hopefully for the good of all of us. Thank you for your speech, and I hope you'll be back up here again soon. Leading now, with the light come off, Mr. Tana, before we scare away our second evaluator. Evaluating Susan's speech. Mark loves football. At age 11, he spent a whole 6.5 minutes helping the high school football team. At the first practice, he was asked to demonstrate how to return a punt. He misjudged the ball's landing point. It hit him square on the head, and he was not wearing a helmet. So he was knocked unconscious. He was promptly let go from the team. But we're glad to have him on our team. So please welcome to the lectern, Mr. Mark Locker.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and especially Brett Favre. Out of retirement, John said you came, so I don't know if this is the Brett Favre from Green Bay or from Minnesota. We'll see what happens. Your speech tonight was project number 5, Your Body Speaks. Your objectives were to use stance, movement, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact as you gave your speech in order to communicate and relate to the audience at hand, or should I say the crowd. And I must say, even before the opening kickoff, you walk up to the lectern, showed confidence, with your shoulders back as you strutted up here to take the ball and to start your speech. As far as the structure of the speech, I did notice an intro, a body, and a conclusion. Even though that wasn't the main focus of this speech, that is an underlying focus of every speech we give here at Toastmasters, so that was good to see that. Just like a good football game where there's 4 quarters, you can't just come out here and play 3 quarters like the Cleveland Browns. You need to give it your all for the entire game, and you did that. You came out, and as soon as you came up here, you stood in front of your blocker, which was the lectern, and you showed your confidence by standing in front of everybody and letting us see you and not hiding behind the lectern. Your use of facial expressions was really good too. When you stated your children's amazement at going to the House of Representatives, I could sense that they were truly amazed. Unfortunately, hopefully they won't lose that amazement when they get older and realize how the House of Representatives really works. But visiting DC is something that I think everybody should do, and I'm glad that you guys got to take the trip to do it, and I'm really glad that you also were able to share that opportunity with us. I saw a good use of hand gestures, mimicking the escalator going up, good use of verbal adjustments. When you were saying how quiet it was in the gallery, we could really sense that we were there in the gallery. If I had one suggestion, so as not to fumble this evaluation and get browbeaten by Stephen here, I would say that although it's okay to use notes in your speeches, there was at one point where I felt like you were just reading off of the paper. So maybe moving forward, let's try to get a little more of the notes up here. Referencing them is okay, but a little too much use in my opinion. Other than that, you stayed within regulation time. I thought you did a very good job with your speech, and it did turn out to be Brett Favre and not a Ray Finkel speech, so congratulations and good job.
Mr. Timer, can we have a timer's report for the evaluation?
Mr. Stephen Morgan came in at 3 minutes and 6 seconds, and he qualifies. And Mark Lockery, yay, I think I said it right, came in at 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Both qualify.
Okay. Therefore, our vote counter will be coming around to take your vote for the best evaluator for this evening. And as general evaluator, I shall now ask for the other functionaries to provide their reports, beginning first with our counter. Therefore, James.
Mr. General Evaluator, I got 1 bridge word for Jonathan, clean slate for Linda. Renju, I had 2 double touches and 1 bridge word. Susan, only 1 bridge word that I caught. Jorge, I caught 2 ahs for you. Alan, 1 ah, 1 double clutch. Micki, 1 ah. Myself, at least 2 double clutches and 3 bridge words. Steve, just 1 bridge word. And John, nothing for you. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator.
What was the bridge word?
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
And our grammarian, who I know was working furiously a few times in there. What did you have to report
Well,
to us?
it's a short list who did not use the word of the day, fumble. I'm on that list, even though I read my little sentence. I go back. And Susan, Pat, she wasn't even here, so we won't blame her for that, and John Roberts. 2 people, Stephen Block and Jonathan, used it 2 times. And there's a few folks that use some incredible way they said things or their actual grammar, so forth. Alan, I liked how you said, and now how about our pledge? That sounded cute.
So for next time, should I use a synonym instead of using it twice? Should I use a synonym for using it instead?
No, twice is fine. Twice is fine. Double points. And John, they get great. Not so great, and possibly they strive for greatness. There's a bazillion ways to do that, and sometimes things just come out a little awkwardly or wrong. And when you were talking about different nationalities, you mentioned everyone is too sensitive. said the white guy. And James said perfectly, which is rare, I couldn't care less. And he enunciated each word so that it didn't sound like what you hear more often. Renju, press pause. And I didn't understand what you said until you said press play. Then I heard it. And it may be just my ears, I have a tough time. But I suggest putting a teensy-weensy pause in between the words may be better. And let's see, I really liked little drops of water make the ocean. And Susan, when you said it was echoey, I don't believe that's a real word. And what you could have done that would have been so excellent is just use an actual echo. My children loved when we were in the subway, the echo. You could have done that. George, you said, oh, I see. It sounded like the lackey, where it should have been lucky. Just slight. And maybe my ears, I'm like super sensitive to every little thing, I think. Stephen, one good change. And although the topic of the speech was good change, it would have been a little better not to use the title, but one possible change, or I'd like you to try, that kind of thing. And I think that was just like a slip. Leonard, one thing I've learned from John, never to complain. That's like something we should write on a t-shirt. Excellent. And Stephen, I've never heard aggressive diet. I thought that was kind of good put together, and meaning no junk food. And I have an aggressive diet, but that means more to me like. So I applaud your use of that phrase. Very good.
As General Evaluator, I evaluate the meeting as a whole, pretty much everything except for the speeches themselves. Had a fun opening there, a good bit of information that Alan was giving us, lighting a fire under a treasurer to get all your money in as soon as possible. I find it rather interesting, and I'm wondering, now that we put the theme as, are you ready for some football, why is it we have a 3-to-1 ratio of males to females in this meeting? Rather interesting. Good use of Hank Williams to begin us started, Jonathan, although I think it'd be more fun to see you do Carrie Underwood next time. It would be very helpful to announce the agenda changes as soon as possible, in particular because wherever the changes are, it particularly affects the table topics master as to who they are going to be able to call on. And we had the issue of who needed to get introductions as well. So please make sure those get announced at the beginning. The wine is fun, but can we not put it up front? Because in order to get to it, everyone has to walk right in front of the speaker. It would be nice if we could have them towards the back on the tables as we had the contest. Any of those options would be very helpful. Good table topics from Jorge. The only suggestion there was you telegraphed one of them by talking about your husband.
Yeah.
I know we had our gay ban overturned here in the state. I think we all knew what we were targeting nonetheless.
Humor species.
I can't do it if I plan it, sorry. As far as the evaluations, if anyone wants to comment on mine, by all means, please do so. Mark, you did a great job, especially pulling in the theme and giving some good advice. And I love the way you put it all together. Very neat character that you add to everything you bring up here. That will be all I have to provide as General Evaluator. Therefore, at this point, pull out your last ballot and vote for the most improved, and our vote counter will be coming around to pick those up. And please welcome back our President, Jonathan Dunn.
Fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests, take note that I fumbled this evening. It's not a big deal. The reason I say that is because Micki is passing around a roll sign-up sheet, and you shouldn't be scared to sign up for something new. It's really an exhilarating experience, and it's not a big deal if you fumble. You don't need to knock every time. I know it gets annoying. I wasn't even searching for a knock there. As soon as the vote counter, I guess no, she's got to go around and get the most improved. So while we're waiting for that, let's hear from our guests. Leonard, what did you think about our little soiree tonight?
I thought it was fantastic and very It was fantastic and very interesting.
Thank you, Leonard. He felt that tonight was so cool and so awesome he couldn't even take off his sunglasses. Steve, once again, welcome back. Great job at the tabletop office tonight. What did you think of tonight?
It was great. Since I'm not being timed, I don't have to worry about fumbling or botching or mishandling or spoiling or fucking up the speech.
See, I'm a little rusty as Toastmaster tonight because I haven't got my practice in lately. Hopefully for next week we'll have somebody new step in and be a rookie on that. And as Micki is tabulating the votes, does anybody have any announcements they need to make?
What's next week's topic?
We won't have it yet unless you want to sign up to be Toastmaster.
That's not big.
No.
So you just come in, it's always a surprise?
No, we'll have it usually.
It'll be within the next couple
Somebody will sign up for Toastmaster. Sometime they already, like I knew last week, our contest kind of was running late, and I stepped into it. I kind of knew what it would be, so we announced it right then and there. But you'll get on an email list, and we'll make sure you have it.
I have a comment.
Yes, Linda.
The articulators have their contest at 7:30 tomorrow morning at the Breakfast Club on 436, kind of close to Lake Destiny there, that place by, you know where I mean?
Westmont.
Westmont.
Yeah, this is
Yes.
Not like Destiny.
Right when you get off I-4 on 436, basically if you're coming from if you're going east, you hang a left, there's a TGI Fridays right there, it's in that plaza. And it'll be awesome, it's really fun. I'm actually going to be the test speaker tomorrow, and I can assure you it's a really wonderful topic.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
The Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
Oh,
It used to be a first watch.
It used to be first watch. Yeah.
Yes.
There's a TGI Fridays in the plaza, there's a wing house, there's an Amigos there. You can't miss it.
Indian food Russian?
Now, it's only 7:30 in the morning, but it's Central Pacific fashion. Are you bringing wine?
It's in a restaurant, so you can, I believe they eat while they're having their meeting.
Indian food usually good, it was good.
I'm going to be eating pancakes heavily served while I'm giving my speech. It should be something special to say. I'm planning for my next humorous speech contest.
Where's the sheet for the sign up?
Let's ask Micki.
She
fumbled!
You are so sure that I passed it around. No.
I would like to sign up as table topics, and I would also like to nominate my buddy Stephen Morgan as Toastmaster because, trust me, he's great at it. Yes, Mr. Yes, Stephen? Is that a yes?
I can do it.
All right, now you got two.
Okay, well good, let's go through the roles then.
We have, but I have to confirm with Willie Naran, speech number 4, and John Whitman said he would like to give a speech in September. So I have to check with him. And
We can put, once again, Pat said she would do it at her.
a general evaluator, I put that. You want me?
I'd like to try it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let him, good.
You have priority.
Does anybody else want to speak?
I'll be the backup for John Whitman. I can do it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can just be a straight up speaker.
All right.
Micki, because I'm a team player, I'll do anything.
You are grammarian.
I
know you don't like it.
I have to be honest with everyone, I don't even know what a double clutch is. Only time the buzzer ever goes off when I'm grammarian is when it goes so I'll get with the Hall of Famer on what a double clutch is, because I don't know what it is.
The
that's being
repetition of a
vulnerable.
word while the speaker thinks of his next.
Wait, say that again?
The repetition of the word while the
That was a double.
Yeah, that was a double clutch. She
right?
did that on purpose, it was
I
very
did it
functional.
purposefully so you would know what it
Yeah,
was.
for sure.
Thank you.
Steve, are you gonna be here next week?
I'm gonna try. That's the plan.
Good. Would you like to be a functionary? We'll make sure you
Functionary.
timer. We'll put somebody with you as well. so.
Maybe a timer.
Easy.
Can I be the timer assistant?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the assistant at first.
We need evaluators then. We need evaluators.
She's back, right?
That's what I really wanted to be since I'm in the evaluation contest, but hey, I'll be
I
grammarian.
can be a grammarian if you want.
Yeah.
He'll be grammarian, you be evaluator.
Yeah. You can switch.
Good. Now Renju's gonna do grammarian, good, because I really do I want the practice.
But next time,
Okay.
after the contest.
So put them in already for the following week. And then
But I need to practice. I'm just kidding. I really would. I want to get something in each week pertaining to evaluation.
So we have Stephen as a Toastmaster, Willie and John as speakers, Charlie table topics, James general evaluator, Jonathan evaluator, Mark. Do you want to be an evaluator?
Can I do, is there something, I'll counter, can I do I'll counter?
Yes.
Alan, I think, said he wants to be an evaluator.
Whatever. I'm a team player. Yeah, you're good.
You did great, Alan.
Wasn't Jorge a speaker too?
Yeah, it was an alternate.
Or yeah.
Jorge's a speaker.
Okay.
I don't know which one, I don't think so.
You can put me in a functionary role, whatever you want.
Yes.
We're general evaluator.
I lost my train of So second evaluator is Pat.
Okay.
And what else? This one doesn't work. And the third evaluator.
If you want to be evaluator, I'll be grammarian again.
No, he's
Renju
Renju's
already did that.
No, you can't.
Okay, so Mark is vote counter. No, our counter, I'm sorry. Timer is
Steve.
Steve.
with you.
With Linda helping.
Yeah. And
And as my backup, I guess I can't make it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Grammarian Renju. And vote counter myself.
Yeah, now excited.
We're all good. I'm going to send out the agenda tomorrow, I promise.
Stephen, do you have a theme in
Playing
mind?
the odds.
What is it?
What is it?
Playing the odds.
Playing the odds is the theme. I like
Oh
that.
boy.
We're going to play the odds with some awards tonight, so let's get a drum roll for the Unsung Hero Award, also known as the Tim Chastain Award. This gentleman has been filling 2 officer roles for the last 2 months without anybody knowing it. He is a sacrificer general, Charles Victor Bombalera. Our most improved award this evening is going to go to Mr. Kaizen Renju John. Our best table topics this evening. Did a great job as a guest and member in waiting, Steve Block. Good job, Steve. Thank you.
My wallet, my first award.
He may have not won last week, but he won for Best Evaluator this evening, Stephen Morgan. Good job, brother. In honor of our Best Evaluator, I'm going to give his favorite cliche of all time. Last but not least, our Best Speaker Award this evening, Mr. Kaizen, Renju J. Fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests, thank you for your presence this evening. The meeting is adjourned.
Susan.